Hello and welcome to my first ever DLC add-on review for the Xbox One. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the new content that's just been released for Dead Rising 3, right off the heels of the E3 press conference, which very quickly, to sum it up, I thought was a decent one, far better than last year, but then again, they couldn't really be worse than last year. There's some stuff that I'm definitely looking forward to, but I think they also played it very safe. This, however, was a complete out of left field. It is complete and utter fan service. The moment I seen it, I flipped. I just thought I have to get this right away, and I can't stop playing it. It is so fun. It is unbelievable how good it is. The DLC in question is Super Ultra Dead Rising 3 Arcade Remix Hyper Edition EX Plus Alpha. Someone at Capcom clearly has a sense of humour, because the amount of times whenever they re-release a Street Fighter game, people just start adding words. So that's clearly what they've done for this DLC. It is nothing at all like anything from the Season Pass, and it also does not come as part of the Season Pass. You have to buy it separately, it cost me £8. I will play it for way more value than £8. Believe me, that's cheap for what you're getting. And it's just one of those things that, as much as the DLC Season Pass itself is a bit of a disappointment, this is anything but. This is absolute perfection. I can't stop raving about it. At the start, you've simply got play now, you've got leaderboards, because it's a high score game, it's an arcade game, it's perfect how they've done it. You've got the how to play, you've got the options, which are basically the same options for the main game. Going into it, you'll see the layout is very reminiscent of Final Fight Captain Commando. It's done with each stage has a different difficulty level, and you play through it and you've got different missions to do. You can play it 4-player co-op, but you can also play it 1 player, so if you've got no one to play it with, which at this moment in time I don't, then it doesn't hinder you at all. You go through and you unlock Zenny, which anyone who knows what Zenny is doesn't need the explanation, but for those who don't, it's basically currency, and it used to be like points and that, and on Forgotten Worlds, Zenny was currency as well, and you collect it to buy things. Well, you collect the Zenny on this to buy other costumes for characters, and there's just some fantastic fan service again here. You've got the first 4 are just basically Nick Ramos, Annie Green, Chuck Green, and Frank West, which everyone should know them if you've played Dead Rising, and then you start getting from other Dead Rising things, different costumes and that, and then you start getting to the fan service costumes, which you have to do. Not just buy them, but you've got to do objectives. So, for example, for this Power Stone character, Edward Falcon, which is one of Nick's costumes, I have to find the Power Stone arcade machine so I can then buy him. I've done everything else to accomplish it, but I still can't find the Power Stone machine. There's Dino Crisis, there's Rival Schools, there's Final Fight, there's Darkstalkers, Mega Man, Street Fighter, Breath of Fire, Captain Commando, and Onimusha. At least I think that's how you pronounce it. It might be Onimusha. Either way. Basically everything that I actually said in my review that I'm so glad I uploaded last night now, about how there are so many characters in the Capcom house. Why couldn't we get them? Why did it keep forcing Mega Man characters onto us? Well, I swear down, if it wasn't for the fact that it only went up last night, I'd say they listened to me, because this has clearly been in the makings for some time. I think this is why we did get subpar DLC, because I think they were too busy working on this. From the moment you first switch it on, if you were an old school gamer, you will recognise all sorts, from the music to the arcadey style of gameplay to the power-ups you can get. It's just insane. It's one of them. I'm going to shut up for a little bit of the music just to let you listen to the remix tune, and then I'll get on to actually playing the game and describing it. So that was a bit of the music. Right then, on to some of the fan service without spoiling too much, because this is one of those games that you're going to want to see. The basic gist of the game is you've got objectives per level, and you go on and you do the same objectives over and over for the most part. It's a case of they'll change per level, but when you replay a level, they don't change, if you know what I mean. So every time I've put Ingleton on, it's been kill 50 zombies, drive to the graveyard, you know. And it does it in a great way, because each one of the 4 major areas in the Dead Rising 3, well, world, I suppose, is now its own level with unique objectives and things, and it works great. There are power-ups all over the place, from Resident Evil rocket launchers to meat from Final Fight. The old POW symbols appear, which you'll have seen on many Capcom arcade game, and they'll do cool things, like I've got Hyper at the moment. There's I can never remember what the hell they are, but collecting them is just nuts, what I'm basically looking at now. There's different items that you can get, basically. There's like a 1942 bomber from 1942, which calls in an airstrike, and then there's something which I can only really describe as more like an option. I haven't recognised what game it's from, but if you've ever played an old school shoot 'em up where as soon as you get an option, it basically flies around you and fires, and while I was attacking, it was attacking for me. And it's just, there's all sorts. There's vehicles that you can walk into, and it gives you a predetermined vehicle. This is one of my favourites, and I think it's pretty much one of everyone's favourites, which is probably why it's one of the most common that I've found, or at least on Ingleton. And it's just an absolutely fantastic arcade game. You get points for killing zombies, you get cash, which, as I've already said, you basically go around and you buy the characters with it. There's armour, which basically gives you Arthur's helmet, which anyone who doesn't know Arthur, I'd be amazed, especially considering Dead Rising's had Arthur in the game before. And it's just, seriously, it's one of the most fan service games out there. The characters do play differently, and the costumes have different abilities, but essentially, like there's the super bar in the bottom left. That ability between Servbot Frank and Frank doesn't change, but Servbot Frank has a completely different repertoire to regular Frank, because regular Frank uses like a baseball bat with spikes and barbed wire, and Servbot Frank uses a load of different weapons from Dead Rising. And it's just, depending on who you want to play as, and depending on what essentially costume that you've got on, does limit how, well, not so much limit, but it dictates what you're going to be able to do, because seeing as it is a 4-player co-op game, each character has their different strengths and weaknesses, and I'm going to actually, after this airstrike, which I think I've just called into the worst possible place, I'm going to go back to the menu just to, yeah, I think I've got like 2 zombies there, just to simply show you a couple of the different bars and stats and things. So rather than watch a loading screen, I'll cut into that. So as you can see, the bars on the left basically are health, special and power, and Nick Ramos regular is completely different to Tuxedo Nick, and then to Edward Falcon and Felicia, because that's right, there's even more humour. Felicia, who anyone who doesn't know, just Google Felicia from Darkstalkers, you'll see why it's humorous to have that as a male costume. And it does mean that because you're playing co-op, as I say it, depending on who you actually choose, really does depend on what your role, I suppose, is in the party. Even though it is co-op though, whenever you beat a level, it comes up basically a ranking system, and it tells you who came first overall. It tells you once you beat a full level, basically, because Ingleton's got 5 rounds, and once you beat every round, it says who came first, and then once you beat the 5th round, it then comes up like who done this, that and the other. And when you play on 1 player, then it means that player 1 obviously always gets all the bonuses, so it's a great fast way to earn Zenny. But the game is far more fun in co-op, so it's not one of those that I'm going to say never play the game co-op. You know, you should probably always play the game co-op. But if you're just going for a large Zenny boost, then maybe you should play it 1 player, because then you'll automatically get all of the rewards and the bonuses for actually, you know, killing the most zombies or doing this, that and the other, you know. And it does work quite fast. So there isn't really much else I can actually say about the game. It's one of those, it does require Dead Rising 3, whenever you go into it, the way they were talking actually at E3, it made it sound like it was a standalone game that everyone would be able to get. And I don't think that is the case at all. I've not found a way to download it standalone at all, so unless they're going to then bring it out, I don't know. All I know is as soon as I came up it said this game, well, this DLC requires Dead Rising 3 to play, so I'm sitting there going, so glad I didn't get rid of my Dead Rising 3 game, and I probably never will, especially now that this is out, and I would love to see them do another one as well. So I'm just basically giving you the heads up in case loads of people saw it and thought, oh well, I'll be able to play it without the game, and then rushed off to possibly buy it. Hopefully I've caught you in time, and hopefully at the very least you still had Dead Rising 3 so you can play it, because this is nothing short of excellent. I really can't recommend it high enough. If you are a Dead Rising fan, or if you are an old school Capcom fan, then there really is no reason for you not to get this. It is something that you will most likely play for an awful long time, again and again and again, trying to get better scores, trying to unlock everything, and just having a blast with your friends. It's practically close to perfection. It's kind of something that I've been wanting from Dead Rising for a long time, the ability to play it as a huge repertoire of Capcom classics, and the fact that the whole town has been done up in new styles and that, and everything's, I mean, you'll walk past restaurants and you'll think, hang on a second, and all of a sudden you'll twig what's there. Even the Rescue of the Survivors has changed, because the mission Rescue the Survivors, you actually rescue pixelated men and women, and I thought that was great, because I was immediately going, oh no, now I'm going to have to worry about them dying when all I want to do is run through a bunch of zombies, killing them as fast as I can, and instead it was, oh, walk up, touch the pixelated survivor, automatically save them, excellent, I can get back to killing. So, I suppose I'll end with showing off Chuck's Super, and just reiterating, if you own Dead Rising 3, get this. I'm positive that you won't be disappointed. It is brilliant. So there we go then. That's been the review. I hope you found it helpful. I don't score the games because that's based purely on opinion, so instead I'll leave you to make your own mind up. So thanks for watching, and if you've got any questions about the game that I didn't answer in the vid, or that hasn't been answered in the comments, then feel free to ask and I'll help if I can. Also, if you did find it helpful, don't forget to check out my channel, because there's plenty more like this up there, and don't forget to subscribe because there'll be plenty more to come as well. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.